All right, so I failed to record the rest of that, but I pushed that JZBZ queen cage with the queen in it into the brood frame that we pulled all the that I pulled all the queen cells from. Now we're gonna check the next one. Got a bunch of cap cells on there too. I'm gonna go ahead and smash those out. Shouldn't be any more eggs in this colony that they can do that with. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What's interesting is I'm seeing some uncapping behavior in this colony, and I do know that the swarm colony that they came from had tested moderately on the UBO spray test that was performed last week, which was interesting. It wasn't nothing, again, to write home about, but it sure demonstrated there's some hygienic behavior occurring in the colony. But the other thing is that, bees, when they don't have a whole lot to do, will engage in hygienic behavior at a higher degree. So there's always that to consider. Now these cells are a little darker in color compared to the previous ones because the wax is older on this frame. However, it is still more of a lighter color, indicating that it was a bit newer. Not as dark as those ones that were stung out, as I stated. But it's been about 6 days since I've been here, and there was larvae in there that was old enough for them to make cells with. I feel like something's crawling up my pant leg. Both legs. There's nothing in my pant leg besides my paranoia. No eggs, no larvae, no cells. Check that dubious end frame. Lots of honey from when I made the split. No cells. See, there's one of those older emerged out queen cells right there. Looks like that one probably was stung out. But that goes back to the story. When I made these splits, I was too late, and there was probably virgins running all over inside the colony. Look at all the pollen in that frame. And that's happening to a lot of colonies right now. All that pollen clogging up the brood nest. And it's especially an issue on colonies that are queenless because they don't really have any brood to raise, nothing to do. So they just continue to bring in whatever stores are available. More pollen and honey. No cells. So lots of resources in here to raise brood. Now you just got to end up with a successful mating on the queen. I'm going to take her. There she is right there. See if they give me a reaction. They didn't really give us much of a reaction on the other one. But virgins don't have that much of a brood pheromone either. Or a queen pheromone, sorry. Because the thing with making YouTube videos, you have to self-correct everything you say or do, because the trolls and the haters will be quick to point out how you said or did something wrong, and that somehow that means that you meant it that way. Yeah, they're ignoring her. I'm gonna go ahead and just tuck that one right here in between these two frames here. Make a snug, little snug. Snug it up just a little, give it a little tension on it, and that'll hold it in place. Put the other box back on that. I'll check back in a couple days and make sure that everything's going smooth. Earlier today, had a raccoon get caught in the privacy fencing between the neighbors' yards and mine. Somebody put it in a foothold, or set a foothold trap out. That's perils of foam boards. And now that they have the scent of that, unfortunately, they're going to keep returning to that. So I have another foam board in the truck I'm going to swap that out with. Get rid of the ant pheromone as much as you can. I'm going to swap that plastic out too. But anyway, like I was saying, the raccoon must have been dead for at least a full day. Oh boy, did it smell like, oh, it reeked so bad. And in the process of it being trapped, it chewed all kinds of holes in the wood trying to set itself free. Not as many queen cells in this one. 1, maybe 2, 3. Get rid of those. Now these colonies have been queenless well over 3 weeks, but have had brood or larvae or eggs at some stage at some point after 2 weeks, because I did put a frame of eggs in each colony to find out where the virgin was that I lost. And by doing that, I determined that it was that very first one that I went through. So that kind of helped fix a problem that I myself created by being delayed in inspecting the colony to find out what was going on. This one I might actually have some brood frames down below that they could do something with. You can see these are all just empty frames for them to draw on and store resources. A couple of chewed out cells or stung out cells. More of the stung out cells and a couple of emerged cells from the virgins when they escaped. One of them wound up in my breeder nuke. That's a long story. I'm pretty sure that that's probably a virgin from this batch of queens that I neglected. I don't see any more eggs, larvae, or potential queens. I don't like the way that one's cut. I'm gonna have to make a new one. Thank you for tuning in to James Lee's Bees. This is how you make an inner cover on the fly. How much does that inner cover cost you? I don't know. Divide however many I make out of this whole roll of reflectix that I bought for like 30 bucks or something like that. Yeah. I don't have my razor knife. I normally have a razor knife with me. And this is how they end up crooked. But, oh well, as long as it covers the top of the box, good enough. And one of the chief reasons is that they chew the pink foam board pretty good. Okay, one more to go. I seem to have angered a couple of the neighbors. Some ants on that one too, not as bad as the other one. They haven't really set up shop too much. Now this one has some drawn frames in the top, or partially drawn frames in the top, but no eggs or larvae. I can't remember why I did that, other than I just wanted to make sure I gave them some extra space. But these ones don't have as many bees as the other colonies, so I am going to take these bees and shake them into this box. I can use these frames in a couple other colonies anyway. I mean, it is what it is. You can't always make the best splits every single time. Things happen, equalization happens, bees leave or merge with other colonies. Some of these may have went over to the other colony that had a virgin queen in it. Uh-oh. I see a cell that I may have missed on my last go around here, and she may have emerged. That complicates things if I can't find her. So we got a bunch of capped cells, and you got this one that looks like it may have emerged. Can you see it? Right there. Yeah. Looks like it may have emerged, but it also could have been chewed out. It looks like we may have queens on the loose. And there's no way to tell if she's out on a mating flight or if she's actually still in the colony. But dadgum, these queens look too young for them to be emerging. So I'm gonna pull all the queen cells that I can find. And see if I can find a virgin on the loose here. I'll put the other virgin out here and see if I can lure any virgins that are inside the colony out, since she's piping in my pocket. There really shouldn't be any virgins in here. So when the bees are skittering around like this and kind of like undirected, again, it's not really fact as much as it is observation. But that usually tells me there's not a queen when they're just kind of running around fanning each other and fanning in different directions. That they don't really have a queen. Nice frame of pollen. Still looking for any virgins in case that one cell wasn't emerged. It could have been unviable and or inviable, and they tore it down. Because the capped ones that I was looking at were still developing and didn't look stung out. So that's more information that kind of just informs the decision making when you're in a bee colony and you're dealing with queen issues. All the evidence suggests that there's no real reason to believe that there is a virgin queen running around in here. But it is possible. It is always possible. There's definitely not much for brood other than the frame that I gave them. Okay, all wrapped up. New virgin queens in each one of these colonies. I'm gonna put some hive numbers on each one of them so I could document what I did today and what queens I put in there so I know what I'm looking for when I come back. Thankfully, all of these virgin queens were marked previous to inserting them into the colony. So if there was by chance a virgin in that one, which I will check back to verify it, those larvae didn't pupa didn't look like they were old enough to be emerging, so I'm thinking that there was something wrong with that cell and it got pulled out. But if there was indeed a virgin or an older larva that got turned into a queen that emerged, I'm gonna have to come back and check on it and verify. So I'll come back in 3 days and see what's going on with the rest of these queens, and we'll go from there. Really no rhyme or reason why I put the tags where I do. Sometimes if they're going to mate, I'll change it up if they're close to each other and that they're not all similar, just to differentiate the way that each one of them looks. But if you take a look at these tags, we are up to number 74. And outside of maybe a couple of tags floating around in my pockets or in the washing machine somewhere, I'd say plus minus 5 to 10 colonies. We're around 65 colonies at this point where I am. My family is, because they have to deal with me being gone, dealing with all these wacky bees. But it's been a busy, crazy spring, and now it's summer, June 21st, it's the solstice, and time to get busy on preparing for the fall and the winter, and that's what we're doing with these queens. See you later.